It was right and proper that I had an opportunity to experience the further flung reaches of the European estate, as it were, and I wasn't disappointed. So that was Ypres, done and dusted for another year. And I suppose it was only right and proper that I went back, because last year I talked about turning up and paying my respects to those individuals who didn't have choices, or the choices that they made meant that we could have our choices. And then I disappeared because my itinerary kind of took the better of me. So I've had a word with myself. The last post, well worth staying for. Thoroughly enjoyed it. Got to get there early though. It clearly happens at 8 o'clock. But I was stood around at about 20 past 7 and there were still crowds in. So if you want a good spot, that's what you need to do. And I suppose that's the end of my European journey, or the mainland European leg of my journey, with Europe being as it is right now, because it hasn't escaped the notice of everyone. But the UK at the end of this month will finally make a decision as to where they stand with their relationship with Europe. And we'll be stepping aside from our European responsibilities in that respect. So what does that mean for this trip? Well, actually, it was right and proper that I had an opportunity to experience the further flung reaches of the European estate, as it were, and I wasn't disappointed. And not want to make this political or anything, but be it a Remainer or a Leaver, how many people can actually honestly say that they have experienced as much of the European continent whilst they were part of that European continent? And I'm not doing that to boast. I had an opportunity and I took it. What does it mean for travel, future travel? Well, who knows? I can't see that it's going to be mildly different to what it is, and if it is, well, yeah, okay, smack on the wrist. But in reality, it may just mean that we have to pay a few extra shekels on the price of a ticket. There might be a bit longer waiting at customs, as long as the experience isn't the one that, like I had in Finland. I keep going on about that. Put it to bed. So it might be slightly more inconvenient for us. But in relation to travel, well, travel doesn't change. Well, not in my mind in any case. For travel, the borders are limitless, and it's only our own constructs that provide those borders and those barriers. So yeah, for me, travel will continue. If I got to pay a little bit more, then so be it. Doesn't really matter. And talking about paying, I suppose, in relation to the European continent, it is actually quite cheap to get yourself as far as the places that I've been. Last time I looked, I think it was £60-70 return to Estonia. So in reality, there isn't really a huge excuse, I suppose. And yes, it's cost me a little bit more because I'm driving. But as I've already alluded to, for me, it's about the journey rather than the actual place that you go to, although the place that you go to is what you set out to do. So today I'm going to relax. I'm going to take it all in. The sun's out. Yesterday was really, really windy, and I tried to get the drone out, but it wasn't happening. But today's quite sunny. Let's see how that pans out. And I'm going to relax. I'm heading off towards the coastal area of Belgium again. What a revelation that was last year. So I'm going to kind of park up there and just have a bit of a mooch and enjoy that Belgian coast. The next part of the journey, part 2, the UK part. Well, as I said before, that's going to see me travelling up the northeast coast. It's an area of the UK that I haven't really visited with any great gusto. And I'm going to knock about there. I've got a couple more weeks of this, so no doubt I'm going to bore you senseless in that respect. But that's kind of my plan. So yeah, Europe, great place to be. I don't know, just proved that it's so easy to get from your home to wherever it is you want to go. So in reality, there aren't really many excuses that people should have, and I might talk about that later on. But for now, I'm going to relax for the rest of the day.
We may have it all, up the ladder, down the road, different mysteries, full life mixed with tears.
Just back off the ferry, back in Dover, and I've driven past this thing many times before, but I just thought, you know what, it's time to do Dover Castle, but first, the wartime tunnels. Well, there's the thing, the tunnels, or the tunnel tour, there's 2 of them, full, 30 people for each tour, and they run 20 minutes apart. Just got there a little bit too late. So I've got another 40 minutes or so. I may not catch it before it closes, so I'm going to run up the hill, well, walk up the hill, and just go and see the castle.
Ups and downs we swear, it's easy either way. Paper kites carrying dynamite, we are in full bloom under the moon. We are happy most of the time, and we get along better than fine.
For 4 years I've had my van, and I've either driven past this to get onto the ferry, or past it to get off the ferry and go home. But this year I thought, well, the sun's shining, it's windy, so it's a little bit too windy to get the drone out, and besides, there's a rule against drones here anyway. But I thought, finally, I'll do Dover Castle. Dover Castle then, a symbol of military might, built by Henry II in the 1180s, a first line of defence from those coming from France, and a symbol of ultimate power and ownership of the UK. Splendid building, and I can't believe it's taken me this long to have wandered around. Just been through the tunnels. Unfortunately, not allowed to film or take any photographs, and I could have been all Black Ops and done it secretly, but the request was made, and so I adhered to it. Superb maze of tunnels. The one I went through was the medical wing. Interestingly enough, tunnels are on 3 levels. The first 2 built in the 1700s to defend England, or assist defend England against Napoleon, because it was a time of the Napoleonic Wars. And those tunnels were used to house over 2,000 troops back then. The 3rd level, the deepest level, was built in and around the 1940s during the Second World War, and that's where the Air Force and the Army and the Navy, their administration, came together for the first time in order to kind of put a structure together for the war. As I say, absolutely superb set of tunnels built by Welsh miners who were then engineers. And interestingly enough, so I was told by the guide, Rowan, superb guide as well, this particular bunker was then turned into a nuclear bunker. And it was part of one of 12 regions, and in the event of a nuclear war, the south-east part of England would have been region number 12, an independent entity, and they would have governed from that bunker. As I said, couldn't get a drone up, too windy, I mean really windy, and we are right on the top of the cliffs, so, and the staff said that there was a no drone policy, and again you have to adhere to that as well. So yeah, Dover Castle, who knew? Next thing for me now is to hit the road. Back on the road, and I'm heading up the northeast coast of England, as I said earlier on, and we'll see what that has to offer. Strangely, this time last year, I just got off the ferry. When I got off the ferry on the south coast of France, on the Côte d'Azur, I've been doing course of it. I'm a couple of weeks ahead of myself because I left for mainland Europe a few weeks earlier than I normally would. But now I'm back with loads of roadworks, and it just made me think that actually, whilst I was knocking around Europe, there was very little in the way of roadworks across the whole of Europe. Whereas here, it just seems to be every 2 metres, and I'm not slagging off our motorway network, because actually in relation to driving up and down it, there are some distinct differences. spaces that you create are automatically filled, and people just do not care about taking your piece of land. So you're always on your guard, you're always being wits about you. And there's a purpose coming back to England.